This is the No Strings Podcast with Rel Simon. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the No Strings Podcast, and this is episode 63, titled Fracture, Fracture. I'll tell you why it's titled that in a moment, but just really quickly doing a temperature check, seeing how y'all doing, how things are going. I last dropped an episode on March 16th, catching a flight or nah, so about a month and a week or so ago. As always, still a lot going on in the world of finance and politics, stocks going up, tariffs, all this nonsense. But I want to get some housekeeping out of the way before I get right into the episode. Of course, this episode is brought to you thanks in part to Spotify for creators. Podcast available on all podcast platforms. You can find me on TikTok at Rel Simon. Find me on Instagram at kicksoncanvas_artistry. Two additional things of housekeeping to get out of the way. First off, this is being recorded on Saturday, April 26, 2025. Shout out to Samira, near and dear family member to my heart. It's her birthday, and so, happy, wonderful birthday. Hopefully I hope that you have a great day, a wonderful day, and a prosperous day. Continue to shine, and I love you and I appreciate you dearly. Second thing of housekeeping out of the way, y'all know that I'm a Titans fan. The NFL draft just occurred on April 24th, 25th, and it'll also continue today. By the time I drop this, the draft will be over, but shout out to Tennessee Titans. Tighten up with the number one pick. Hopefully that hoping and praying that Cam Ward, quarterback, can be the savior and right the ship for our franchise. I know we need a wide receiver. We drafted some defensive help in the second round, so between the second and third rounds. And so hopefully we can get some offensive weapons on there. All right, so now that I got that out the way, a little housekeeping. Let me read the description first of my podcast episode. Of course, like whenever you type on any podcast, there's like a little description or blurb about what it's going to be about. So, a fracture or break in your physical armor forces you to slow down and gain new perspectives. I share what I have been up to lately and provide insight into what lies ahead. And so, what have I been up to lately? I tell you, the term fracture can mean multiple things, but firstly, in terms of the physical, you think of a fracture, obviously you think of a bone, arm, finger, foot, ankle, any bone, any rib, fracture rib, crack ribs, right? So, well, for me, never really suffered a major injury before, or a crack, or break, or a fracture, but went roller skating on Wednesday, April 9th. Rolled, kind of did like after a turn, kind of did like a step move. I can't remember what it was, but rolled on my ankle. Was a lot of bruising, and then iced it for a few days. Have been working from home ever since. And I know that following sort of weekend, I had some time, and I was able to go to urgent care. They took X-rays. So I suffered a fracture, small minor fracture in the back of my ankle. You can kind of see it on the X-ray photo, but also at the same time an ankle sprain where there's ligaments or tendons, things that have been stretched or bruised, and there's a lot of swelling. And even right now, it's gotten better. If we look at what this upcoming Wednesday will be, three weeks since it happened. Sprains take time to heal. Bone breaks, fractures. It takes time to heal the bone and have time for the bone to come back together and all that type of stuff. So I definitely been on vitamin D, trying to eat clean and healthy. But I mean, hey, it's been ramen one day, Wingstop another day. Hip Hop Chicken and Papa John's last weekend with WrestleMania last weekend. And I'm freewheeling this episode. I may just talk about wrestling. I may just book in this episode with wrestling at the tail end because y'all know I'm a massive wrestling fan. But there's just real no notes, no hard facts or notes aside from organizing my thoughts on my phone. But anyway, just on the road to recovery. Boot, crutches, not in the boot all the time, right? Can take it off. I have it off right now and just have one of those like ankle sleeves right now on my ankle and just certain pressure points or touches is when there may be pain or whatever. But yeah, I'm just on the road to recovery each and every day. I have a workout room in my apartment building, and so I was able to do some upper body things, try to get some things out the way. The boot is wide enough to, I can get on the cycle. The cycling machine, right? You just loosen the strap a little bit, and I was doing that for about 5 minutes and just trying to get moving a little bit. I do miss roller skating. I just bought a pair of roller blades, and now I'll probably have to wait till maybe around June because I don't have a follow up until the end of May, but wait until June to put on my roller blades that I just bought. The equipment that I fell in were the rented skates at the place. Of course, you sign safety waivers and all of that. I mean, I'm not going to get into that. Was it my fault? Was it the rink? Was it the skate? I'm not really going to get into that. But I still want to roller skate and roller blade. I still want to buy some roller skates. The next time I get on something of balance or a form of skates is like my own roller blades. Once I'm ready to go, just start skating out in the parking lot or whatever. So yeah, I mean, I never broke or fractured anything before. Again, I can take the boot off, shower, or whatever. I got a little scooter. I mean, I've learned how to walk on crutches, both on 2 crutches and 1 crutch. I've learned how to get around on this little knee scooter, and at the same time, really just not diminish my life. Just really just taking it easy. There are people who have suffered worse injuries, more catastrophic than me. Thank God it was only a sprain and a slight fracture, not like a complete break or anything like that. Just taking it day by day, each and every day. Could there be rehab or physical therapy after all of this? Who knows? But I'm trying to circumvent and just trying to get the ankle moving a little bit, ice, heat, taking breaks and just chilling out and relaxing. But I wasn't going to miss the important things. For example, last weekend was Easter, and I was part of a play for my church, Easter Sunday, April 20th. That was well received, not only my performance, but from the entire ensemble, each monologue, and also the entire church Easter service. So I'm just grateful. Me dressed up as James, boot and all. I wasn't going to miss that. So. And then mentally, I've been fine. I mean, the worst pain was like the day it happened, me just kind of falling and then getting up off the rink and just kind of just getting up under my own power, rolling off, taking off the skate, foot fat and plump, and just putting my shoe on and just walking 100 feet back to my apartment. This did happen over at the Kraken, the skating and pickleball spot. So that's over by me. And yeah, I mean, I mentally I've been fine. Really, just not paying attention to anything crazy. I mean, just it's given me opportunity to see things in a new light, read a little bit more, catch up on some shows, just pay focus and attention to some things. But people have been reaching out to me. Shout out to all the people that have reached out to me. And I don't disclose where I work, but as a profession, as an admin, there was a admin assistance day this past Wednesday, and I received just a showering of appreciation, and I just definitely appreciate that to my coworkers and those who have shared their well wishes and thoughts, and also for that particular day, but also those people who have shared their well wishes and thoughts as I get through my own recovery. And so, I'm not tripping. I mean, it's just different. Groceries being delivered with Amazon, Whole Foods delivery. I know that weekend that I did go to urgent care, I mean, between going to church or this or that, it was Lyft. I think once I log into my my money budgeting app with Quicken Simplify, I'm pretty sure the top 3 expenses off the rip, aside from rent, because rent is always the highest expense, but the top 3 expenses would probably be eBay, because I still be buying cars here or there. But then the second one is likely going to be Amazon, between the Amazon, little Amazon purchases and the Amazon Whole Foods is owned by Amazon, so it'll show up on my statements as like Amazon. But I'll just have to change the category based on, I'll just remember and just kind of label it. But Amazon is the second, and then probably Lyft is probably the third one, because Lyft, I don't know, I probably spent like $150 that previous weekend. But I mean, the things I just learned from this is that life can kind of hit you in the blink of an eye. This happened on the 9th. If we go back to April 6th, I was just out in Dulles. Well, actually, if we go out to April 5th, shout out to Uncle Harvey, who celebrated his 79th birthday, just attending a breakfast or brunch at Tupelo Honey. And then following that was on the 6th, where I went out to the Dulles Town Expo Center to go to a card show, sports show, card show, helmets for sale, cards for sale, of course. I went to get 25 of my wrestling cards graded. I should expect those back in June, which is a long time, but that's just how it is. But that was a pretty cool show. It was a cheap price too. There were people who waited in line for photo ops, from Ray Lewis, Zay Flowers. I think Jim Kelly was there. So a lot of memorabilia, a lot of football and basketball, hockey, baseball. There was some wrestling, not necessarily a dedicated table, but wrestling cards right now are really expensive. I think at this point I'll probably have to do, I don't know, some type of finance thing about breaking and the cards. I know I touched it on addiction, but that was sort of TikTok breaks, and that was back when I was buying football specific memorabilia. But recently it's just been not so much whatnot, but more so little single cards on eBay, and just building up my own collection and just learning about grading and just enjoying my sort of collection. I think the other thing is, a few more things, and I'm running straight through, but I think there's some anticipatory expenses that I do expect, because again, when I went to the urgent care, they gave me the boot and the crutches, and it said you're going to be billed by a third-party provider. So I'm be sure to see something in the mail. Paying for the copays, going to the urgent care or to the orthopedist, right? So there's that, and then also, of course, the Lyft rides, like I mentioned, going back and forth. So right now I kind of have a physical string on me. I talk about no strings podcast, like no physical strings, no mental strings, and no financial strings, and a little credit card seeing a little bit of action, but it's nothing too crazy for me. And that's why to jump into the financial piece, stress the importance of a emergency fund, because it provides that peace of mind for you when life happens. And right now, literally speaking in the flesh, is that life happens. People get hurt, get sick, doctor's appointments, things can hit you out of the blue. Of course, we a lot of times emergency fund, we think about superficial when you need to pay for cleaning some ductwork or a broken toilet, car repairs, but also for the body as well, right? You may have an accident at work, outside of work, and you need that emergency fund to provide you that peace of mind. And then when it takes a hit, but then you build a fund right back up. So that's one thing that I do have, and that, of course, I stress for all of y'all. When you suffer a fracture, and I'm not talking about a bone fracture, any type of fracture, home fracture, relationship fracture. I don't know if you're going through something, going through a divorce or something, right? Whatever. But what I don't currently have is an HSA. And so this is where I kind of get into the notes a little bit as well. But for those who don't know, that's called a health savings account, or even an FSA, which is a flexible spending account. And from Google, a HSA is a tax advantage savings account that allows individuals with a high deductible health plan to save money for qualified medical expenses. You can contribute pre-tax or tax deductible dollars, and the money can be invested and grown tax-free. To have an HSA, you must be enrolled in a high deductible health plan. You or your employer can contribute to the HSA, with contributions typically being deductible, tax deductible, or made pre-tax. The benefits of HSA is that the earnings and investment and withdrawals are for qualified medical expenses are all tax-free. HSA funds can be used to pay for current and future medical expenses and used to be invested potentially over time. HSAs are owned by the individual, so funds remain with you even if you change jobs or insurance plans. And HSA funds roll over from year to year, aligned for accumulation of savings for medical needs. A downside of HSA from AI Google is that HSA requires you to have a high deductible health plan to contribute. Potential penalties for withdrawing funds for non-medical expenses before age 65, and limitations on contributions once you turn 65. Additionally, some individuals may struggle to accurately budget for the medical expenses, and not all providers accept HSA cards, potentially leading to out-of-pocket expenses. So that's a lot to take in, but at least from my side, for me, really taking another look at my health plan, I think I have a high option under my employer-sponsored health plan. I want to check again. I think I have the option to enroll in an HSA. That could be something for me to look towards, even if I do like $20 a month or $50 a month. Because let's say 6 or 7 months ago, the HSA, I started enrolling in it. And again, I have to check and see if I'm even qualified for it. But let's kind of just go back in the time machine. If I had an HSA, wasn't going to no appointments. I'm due for a physical anyway, due for a dentist appointment, all that stuff anyway. But let's say, boom, I had an HSA and then this happens. And so there's a chance that I could have qualified for one. The insurance company has to take their, you meet a certain deductible with the health insurance company before they start doing contributions and covering your expenses. But if I look at the things that I'm anticipating or looking at already, the copays, that possibly could have been covered by HSA from my HSA account. I just have to see how it works. Like, do they give you a card, or do I make a purchase and then I kind of just like submit it? I got to do like some more research. But let's say for example, it will cover a copay, or this upcoming whatever charge this will be for the boot and crutches that I was given from urgent care. That could be a claim, and that would definitely count as a qualified medical expense, and money from that account would have been used to pay for those. And then even the scooter, which I got off of Amazon, and I actually used my credit card points, so I actually didn't pay anything. I used my credit card points. Who knows if I may put this as try to claim it. We'll see what I do down the road. But again, this probably could have been a qualified expense due to my injury. And so it's just something for you to think about. Some people listening may already have an HSA or maybe looking into it. And I'm definitely going to try to do more research. Can I contribute to an HSA now, or do I have to do it usually during the open enrollment period, which is near the end of the year? I'm going to try to do some more research about it and look at the benefits. I know the money guy, Brian Preston and Bo Hansen, they definitely talk about HSAs versus FSA. And I never really need to go to the doctor. I've been to physical therapy before. I try to get my yearly checkups. Been slacking a little bit recently, but it's just food for thought because I'm getting older, 36 going on 37. And it's just food for thought for those people, persons listening now that are older than me and younger than me. Then FSA, but if you look at the difference between the HSA and FSA from Google, both HSAs and FSAs help individuals pay for qualified medical expenses with pre-tax dollars, but they differ in eligibility, contribution limits, and how unused funds are handled. HSAs are tied to high deductible health plans, offering higher contribution limits and the ability to roll over unused funds, while FSAs are available through employers and may have lower limits and use it or lose it rules for unused funds. HSAs require enrollment in a high plan. FSAs are typically offered by employers. HSAs generally have higher contribution limits than FSAs. HSA funds roll over year to year. FSA funds may be subject to use it or lose it rules. And HSAs are owned by the individual, making them portable, while FSAs are employer-sponsored and may be lost upon job change. So those are just two nuggets to think about. You may not be enrolled in a high deductible health plan, so you may be eligible for an FSA, but though the FSAs do have use it or lose it things and advantages, you may only use the FSA within a certain year. It doesn't roll over like an HSA does, and there's certain contribution limits. Similar to Roth versus traditional IRA, right? There's limits and rules, and so I definitely encourage you to just Google, do your own research. I'm gonna try to do some more research on my own about HSAs, FSAs, so that not necessarily the next time I go roller skating, but I'll just be prepared whenever something else happens. I mean, cross your fingers. So, yeah, definitely covering expenses for a fractured ankle, or maybe you had a bad fall, broken wrist, maybe you're undergoing chemo treatments, ER visit. You look at the remaining money that's not in that pot, it can be invested and allowing you another avenue to have passive income. That's sort of a health sort of thing. And you look at a 529, or in certain jurisdictions, it may be called something else, but I'm pretty sure in most locations in the U.S. it's a 529. You're putting money in a college savings plan, but that money for your child and to pay for college expenses, but it could be applied to trade schools or this or that, and it could be a chance where they may not go to school, and there's some sort of piggyback, I believe, where that's just another sort of investment account if your child or children don't elect not to pursue continuing education, and you got all this money that's been invested and saved. So definitely check that out. But also at the same time, just look at things that may be fractured in your life. You probably have some strings hanging around, some new strings that have developed, but are your finances fractured? Is your home fractured? Is your spiritual relationship fractured? Is your partner to partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, marriage, wedding, whatever, is that relationship fractured? What are things in your life that you can see that may have a crack or some type of boundary or limitation, and things that you can try to slowly repair and recover? Because in America, you got a fractured divide, of course, on politics all the time, and that's never really going away. Democrat versus Republican. You look at people out here. What they just announced, they're about to start garnishing wages on student loans, and some people are still defiant, talking about I'm still not paying it, or you have to take the money out of my check, and it's like boom, duh, bingo. That's exactly what they're doing. Similar to child support payments, right? So you start garnishing people's wages because they're going to try to get their money regardless. The videos from last weekend and the weekend before, the things I've seen on the media about Coachella, people out here spending all this exorbitant amount of money just for these experiences, and you hanging out in these shacks or these shanties, and you're not really having a great experience, spending $20 on mac and cheese, $1,000 for sushi flights and boats or whatever. It's insane. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely go down a rabbit hole, and there's a lot of fracture in finances. Is my financial situation completely savvy and healed? No, it's a little fracture, right? A little bit of credit card debt, small amount that I got, which is a little fracture. Some people with the student loans, that's a bigger hole to cover, a bigger hole to get out of. So yeah, again, just this metaphor, just sort of speak about that. Just want to hit y'all with a quick update. We'll see what the next podcast episode will be about. But again, I thank you all for the well wishes. Thank you for sitting back, listening. And, I'm just human like everybody else. So, I break, I bleed, I cry. But at the same time, hopefully I can touch or affect someone. 1 or 2 or 3 people that are listening to this episode right now. So that's all I've been up to, y'all. Road to recovery. Can't wait to get back to skating or even jogging again, because I can't even really jog like that. But can't wait to get back on the recovery. And this is episode 62, fracture. I've got a fracture right now. You may have some fractures in your life, like I mentioned. Kind of do some deep digging and deep diving. This time, again, has allowed me to sort of slow down instead of moving at a fast pace. Take a shower slower, cooking slower, being more deliberate with my steps and walks and everything like that. And just being appreciative for the moments and knowing that things could have been worse. And I implore you to look at life the same way. Because, again, you may have some little fractures in your life, but you got to stop and breathe and say things could be worse, but you just work to reverse and just look to get better. Because time is just a vacuum. Again, it's almost 3 weeks. It's been about 2.5 weeks. Before you know it, I'll be back and up and at it and ready to go. So that's all I got for y'all. Episode 63, little life update. Physical fracture. Small little thing in the back of my ankle too. And I ain't tripping. Some people was like, "Oh, I'm worried about you," and I'm like, "Nah, we good over here. We good over here. We good over here. I appreciate it, and it takes mental toughness. It takes some strength, right? And it takes a little bit of faith as well to get through tough times." So that's all I got for y'all. Definitely, I'm gonna use some of this free time, try to do a little bit more research on things, and try to get some more of this financial content out there. But I appreciate y'all. I did say I was gonna book in this stuff with wrestling. If you don't listen to wrestling, hey, all right, goodbye, y'all. See y'all. It's all good. Enjoy your day. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the podcast. But if you indulge me for like 2 more minutes, WrestleMania 41 happened in Vegas. A bunch of cards came out as a Cactus Jack special edition. I bought a Jada Parker card off of eBay. I was like, I can't keep doing these breaks, and I'm starting to see these deals coming out. But those cards are just crazy. Spending $400 on, well, not me, but still the wrestling boxes. They're just so they're inflated in terms of price. But just the card game, I'm just so entrenched in it. But if I give a review of WrestleMania as a whole, probably like a 8 out of 10. Yeah, there were some moments and some matches. A lot of people hated the finish of John Cena and Cody Rhodes. You had, I love LA Knight, and Jacob Fatu got him, but I understand it. I get it, whatever. There was a whole lot of drama with The Rock not being involved, with Travis Scott being involved in the finish of WrestleMania 41 and John Cena winning his 17th title. And, to me, it didn't really affect me that much. Just all the matches, everybody did what they had to do. Shout out to Bayley, because Bayley is a workhorse, and she kind of got shafted a little bit as well. But I think really just as a whole, WrestleMania, I give it an 8 out of 10. Really as a whole, a 7.5, 8 out of 10. Can't really complain too much. I try not to complain too much online. I call and see bullshit when I see it. I'll call it when I see it as well, but. Yeah, you're moving on to Monday Night Raw, and you had NXT, and you had SmackDown last night, and you see all these people coming back, and Rusev and Aleister Black, and you got these title changes, great TLC match. Shout out to Zelina Vega winning singles gold, and you got just like almost like a reset. And shout out to Jey Uso with the Yeet, and finally winning his, right? And just all the title changes, and sometimes the long-term storytelling works, sometimes it doesn't. Shout out to Seth Rollins for winning the triple threat main event. I wanted him to win. He should have won. And he was even at the draft last night, repping the Chicago Bears, just going crazy with the title belt and everything. The Chicago Bears WWE style belt. But definitely going to do a podcast somewhat related to sports cards, trading cards, wrestling. I'll do a podcast-centric episode as well, because there's a lot of financial implications with that as well. But yeah, again, big big wrestling fan, and just looking forward to see what happens next. So, all right, that's it. End of the episode, about 30 minutes. It's been about a week and a month. Ain't heard from me. But let me go ahead and close this down and do my usual little TikTok videos and get my stuff out, and so I can get this episode out. So thanks for hanging through. I will catch y'all on the next one, and peace. Thank you for listening to the No Strings Podcast with Rel Simon.